What's up, people? It's your boy Stantawn coming to you with a video. I was sitting here and I was thinking of, hey, I'm gonna do a video tomorrow. I'm thinking of what I'm gonna do and all that. But while I was thinking of that, what I was thinking about before that was something that I have big that's coming up in a couple of weeks that I will make a video about. But let's just say right now that I found out a few days ago that I have this opportunity for a concert with a high profile group, and I have to prepare for it, so I've been practicing and everything. And as you know, we as humans do what we do when we get a little bit discouraged, maybe not even discouraged, maybe not even afraid, maybe not even doubtful, but just that feeling of, oh, this is an opportunity, this is pressure, this pressure, before this pressure comes, you ain't have anything that you outside of your normal routine that you had a reason to be pressured about. And I thought about a past experience that I had, and I said to myself, man, I ought to tell my subscribers about this. Maybe I'll call it like story time, or sitting with Stantawn or something like that. So I'm gonna do it in this video. I'm gonna do my best to say it and be as genuine and as just human as possible, But basically, so like I said, I was getting ready to call it a night, and I had went through some practicing today, and I was thinking and reflecting on what I need to do to get ready to execute with this opportunity that I got. And I thought about the first time that I met James Moody. Oh, James Moody, man, it's a special guy, man. Anybody watching this channel, this saxophone, channel, I'm assuming that you know about James Moody. Yeah, man. But let me just start from the beginning. So I was playing with Clark Terry in the Clark Terry Quintet. That's another story. Another sitting with Stantawn. But I was playing with Clark Terry in the Clark Terry Quintet, and we were at the Blue Note at this time. I want to say it was maybe 2008 or so. It had to be 2008, come to think of it. But anyway, so we're booked for the Blue Note. Clark's group somehow gets double booked with James Moody's group. Oh, it was drama in the air about this. Clark, they didn't like the fact that they was double booked. They didn't like the fact that they had to share, these sets, because they were both two big headliners. You talking about Clark Terry and you talking about James Moody, and somehow the club double books them for a week. I don't know, but that's not the point of the story. So I remember being in the dressing room, and Clark was, kind of disgruntled about wondering who was going to be going first every night and who was going to be closing every night. And Moody had the same feeling, like, I don't know who's going first or who's closing, but we need to play last, So eventually, I think they settled on to flip-flop days. Who's going to go first, who's going to close, So I was kind of starstruck. It's James Moody. I never met James Moody, but I heard about, I know James. It's James Moody. Moody's Mood for Love and all that, But there was tension, between his camp and Clark's camp. Maybe because of that whole stuff of double booking or whatever. I ain't gonna get into that. But, so we had the first night, I never got to go and talk to James before that set. They never came over to our dressing room. Well, I won't say they. Let's just say James himself never came over to Clark's room. Clark never went over to James' room. So we played I think at this particular time, we went first. I think we went first. And I was in Clark's room with the band. And James Moody sends someone over to Clark's room. So they come over to Clark's room. Clark, yeah, baby, Clark. They peep in the door, and they was like, hey, Mr. Clark, James want to see, the saxophone player. Clark's like, what you want to see my saxophone player for? Oh, shit. I'm just sitting there like, oh, what is this about? You know what I'm saying? So I get up. I go over to James's room. James Moody tells me to go get my horn. I go and get my horn. I bring it in there, and he has everybody in his room leave. And it's just me and him in his dressing room after me and Clark just paid our set. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, now, first of all, I'm like, what the hell? Because I didn't tell him my name. I didn't get to say, hey, Mr. Moody, how you doing? I'm such a big fan. I respect your work. Da-da-da-da-da-da. None of that. He's sitting in a chair. I'm sitting in a chair. He got his tenor. I got my tenor. He clips his tenor on his neck strap, and he starts playing in front of me. And I'm sitting there like, okay, yeah, you dope. I know. You know what I'm saying? He asked me to play, I think like some scales or something. He was like, play some scales. And I played some scales. I'm timid. I'm sitting there. I'm not really, all like there, because I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? Da-da-da-da. So then he tells me, all right, I want you to play this pattern. He played the pattern on the saxophone, and I played the pattern back, kind of timid or whatnot. And he stopped me and he was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, you kind of got me out that dressing room after I played the set. You brought me in here like I don't even know what's going on right now, whatever. He was like, well, I was watching you play on the stage and I could tell that you weren't relaxed, And he was like, you gotta relax, man. You got it in you. Don't you think you got it in you? And I was like, I guess, He was like, well, I can tell that you got it in you. Maybe you just need to find out that you do, And he was like, what did he say? He was saying, what guys tell me when I'm shedding and practicing so much, and and they was like, man, aren't you worried about these guys? Like, how you gonna keep learning? How you gonna keep getting better? And he said to me, you know what I tell him? He said, I tell him that I ain't dead yet. That's what he kept saying. He's like, I'm not dead yet. I got time. I'm still practicing. I still practice every day. He kept saying, I ain't dead yet, and you ain't dead yet. So just because you feel a certain way, don't mean that that's the end. You got it in you. You just need to let it out. So, man, it was a motivational time. It's some other things he said, but it's kind of a blur now. That's been like 8-9 years ago. But to add to this, we sat in there and basically had like a lesson in between sets at the Blue Note, And he told me, he was like, I'm going to bring you these books that I've been practicing out of. I'm going to bring them to you tomorrow or whenever, a few days. We were there for a week. He basically said he was going to bring them to me, and give them to me. And I was like, okay, Mr. Moody, blah, 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 And that was it. Like, I left from out of there. There was some other things said, but I would have to really go back in my mind or remember. But I went back to Clark's room, and Clark's like, hey, baby, what was he talking about in there? And I was like, oh, he just kind of gave me a pep talk, introduced himself, da, da, da. I didn't want to get into it with Clark because, Clark was worried that he was trying to, muscle me or something like that. But it really wasn't that, So Moody went on stage. He went out there and killed it. I remember just sitting there just like, I got so much work to do. But sure enough, one of those days after that day, one of those days throughout that week, he definitely came. He had those books in a bag, and he gave them to him. And he was like, I want you to take this. He said, you may not get through all of this. You may not look at all of it, all the time. But just remember that these books is here. And just remember, you're not dead yet. You got time. And I was like, okay, Mr. Moody. He said, just remember, you got it in you. And I was like, okay. And that had to be in like 2008 or 2009. And I never saw him again And I remember that he died not too long after that, because I think he died in like 2010, if I'm not mistaken. It had to be 2010, I'm thinking. But yeah, it was just something that I was reflecting on. You know, Moody was an extraordinary talent. I'm sure that everybody here knows that. And if you don't know it, go check out his music, go check out his legacy, go check out his career. You know, he's very talented, very nice guy. And yeah, man, it's just something that I was reflecting on right now as I was kind of being a little discouraged, thinking about all what I need to do just in my life and just in this career that I'm trying to force myself to believe that I can do, you know. And I just remember him saying that stuff, you know, you ain't dead yet, you know, keep going, you got it in you. But anyway, guys, take care. You know, I'm about to get ready to turn in for the night, and I guess I'll holler at you guys later. Just remember those words that, you know, Master Moody said to me. I'm letting you guys know he said to me. You know, maybe you can apply it to yourselves. All right, peace.
Such a funny thing, but every time you're near me, I never can behave. You give me a smile and then I'm wrapped up in your magic. There's music all around me, crazy music, music that keeps telling me so. Very close to